So one thing that I've always wanted to do was to go back and compare things from Splatoon 1, 2, and 3 now, since we have a total of 3 games in the series, plus a DLC pack, which we're getting another DLC pack for Splatoon 3 very soon, which is going to give us technically 5 different games to kind of look at. So I decided that I wanted to make a little mini-series kind of talking about the differences from Splatoon 1, 2, and 3, and today I want to start off by talking about the hub world. So we will be comparing Inkopolis Plaza, Inkopolis Square, and of course the brand new Splatsville. We'll be talking about how things evolved from all 3 games for the better and how sometimes for the worse, and just comparing all 3 cities. So if you're excited for this and even more comparisons in the future between all 3 games, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Splatoon and Nintendo in general, and make sure you turn on post notifications for when I go live. The first thing you'll notice right away is that each game increased the size of the hub world. The city that you could explore before actually going into turf war battles or rank modes was actually increased a lot for each game. Inkopolis Plaza was in a place of the city where not a lot of skyscrapers or high-rises were near. It was more small apartment buildings and the stores you needed, and that was it. Nothing else special, just the necessities. Now with Splatoon 2's Inkopolis Square, it put us in more of a New York setting, deep within the city, and with tons of screens and advertisements and billboards everywhere with a little bit extra stores and surroundings to kind of give the place flair. It wasn't just the buildings that you needed, it obviously added extra things like tons of apartment buildings surrounding you and giant skyscrapers all around you and subway cars going above you as well. And with Splatoon 3's Splatsville, it just went all out. I mean, completely surrounded by buildings and different shops and tons of shops that you couldn't even enter. It was just more world building and I loved it. Giant, huge apartments reaching towards the sky, different type of work offices and businesses and buildings. You weren't tied to just that one square or plaza. You could actually go around the block and explore deeper into the city itself, which was super exciting. First thing I want to compare is the Squid Game, or lack thereof. Wrong one. For those of you that didn't have a Wii U, so all of you, there were Squid Games that you could actually play before a match started, like in between games. It was super cool. You had Squid Jump, Squid Ball, Squid Racer, and Squid Beats. I can't really show you the gameplay because it's all on the gamepad. I could record it on my phone, but I'm not gonna do that. It's too much work. Now Splatoon 2 only had Squid Beats, but it was like a better version with tons of songs throughout the entire campaign, multiplayer, and even the Octo expansion, so it was pretty cool. You couldn't really play it in between games, but you could go to a little machine and play it, but unfortunately Splatoon 3 didn't have anything like this, or at least not yet, unless maybe in an update they plan on adding some things. I would love to see an arcade just full of different little Squid Games that we can play, or maybe even things we can do as we wait for the match to start. Let's move on to the shops, not the insides because that's for a separate video, but the outside of the shops and the way you enter all of these are all laid out on the same wall. If you needed to get to the next store, you just walked a couple of feet. These were some of the only buildings that you could enter within this plaza at all. Everything else was just in the background, and this was just it. It was just a couple of buildings to do your shopping, and that was all on this whole entire part of the plaza. Splatoon 2 has to have my favorite looking shops, at least on the outside, because they are super unique depending on the store owner. They're all on that left wall just like the first game, but they all have very unique properties this time around, including the way you enter the store. Some have revolving doors, some have sliding doors, and some just have normal double doors, which is just super unique. Splatoon 3 took it a bit further and didn't just place all the stores in a row down the street. In fact, you had to go across the street to see one store, go back across the street to see the other one, go further down a side road to see some more, and even one of the shops were actually up a flight of stairs, added some verticality to the shopping, which was really cool, and it actually felt like a street full of stores for you to go visit instead of just a wall of stores in just one line. It actually felt like a shopping strip. If you wanted to post some type of message within Splatoon 1, yeah, you would go to the Miiverse mailbox. I know a lot of you guys are too young to even know what this is. Unfortunately for us, Miiverse ended a long time ago, but this is how messages used to be sent through, and it's kind of sad that it's gone. In Splatoon 2, we have these skinny red post boxes that we can go up to and just simply put up some posts, without Miiverse of course. And in Splatoon 3, our post box looks just like an average mailbox, something you drop letters in and then go, which actually probably is the most realistic looking one. Now I don't want to talk too much about the lobby and the matchmaking, but I'll just talk about the outside right now because all that is once again for a separate video. On the screens, it shows the active maps right now, and it even goes to the beat. Splatoon 2's lobby area has only 2 screens. It does show the map rotation, but it doesn't do so according to the beat of the music. And we know Splatoon 3's screen is on the inside of a new revamped lobby, which once again we'll get to in its own video, but it's on a giant TV-sized Nintendo Switch screen, which occasionally shows the maps, but for the most part it's just a bunch of ads by the various in-game companies. Of course, we have our beloved cat Judd. Judd the cat is actually sleeping outside of the lobby area on a crate. In Splatoon 2, he's once again sleeping outside the lobby area, but on the left side this time, and he has little Judd sitting on top of him, his little baby clone. But yeah, obviously he's very little here and not grown up like we see him in Splatoon 3, and probably still a good boy here, getting ready to be bad. Yeah, I have my eyes on you. Did you guys also notice there's a bowl of salmon underneath the 2 cats? Look, coincidence. In Splatoon 3, this time we have the inside of the lobby area, and Judd is sleeping once again, but this time on a pillow on top of a bench. But little Judd is nowhere to be seen, probably working on evil schemes. Once again, I don't trust you. Of course, we get Captain Cuttlefish sticking his head out of the manhole cover that leads into the story mode at the top right beside the lobby. In Splatoon 2, the manhole cover is on the left side, and no one pops up, unfortunately, after you've already started the campaign. Normally it's Marie, but no one this time. And the manhole cover is on the left side once again in Splatoon 3. Also, no one comes out of this one, but did you notice? It's also cool as all 3 of them have the same sticker seal on them, which is pretty neat. For customizing gear in Splatoon 1, you would go to Spike, but he was in a deep alley with his sea snails and of course a screwdriver on the ground, which was kind of creepy. In Splat 2, we had Merch, which was a little urchin boy. He was placed on a bench right outside the lobby with his briefcase with him. And in Splat 3, Merch is in the exact same spot, right side of the lobby, and he still has that same briefcase with him. He's obviously a lot more grown up here. If you turn around and face the back left of Splatoon 1, you'll see the Splatoon amiibo box. Splatoon 2, the amiibo box is in the same place but with new colors. In Splatoon 3, the amiibo box is in the back right with the new colors as well. Once again, I'll emphasize the stores and other buildings later a lot more. Here's the local multiplayer dojo. Here's the dojo in Splatoon 2. It's a lot bigger with a lot more room inside, and it actually mimics that of an arcade. The dojo in Splatoon 3 has a very similar logo, but doesn't look as much like an arcade. There's just an elevator and some stairs inside. It's a lot more creepy. Of course, we gotta talk about the studios for the idols, and here is Callie Marie, the Squid Sisters studio. It's more smaller, condensed, and just consists of the 2 with bright colors. Then we have the Splatoon 2 idols, Pearl and Marina, being Off the Hook, and their studio is more modern take. It's still small and it only consists of them. Then we have Splatoon 3's idols, Fry, Shiver, and Big Man for the deep cut. Their studio set is a lot bigger with tons of set pieces, a lot more lights and cameras and televisions, and a whole jellyfish crew set. Before we wrap up, there's only a couple things that I want to talk about from Splatoon 2 and 3 only. We have Krusty Sean's food truck, which he was originally a shoe sneaker guy in Splatoon 1, and now he moved into the food business. And he has things like shrimp dogs, which looks disgusting, shrimp potatoes, shrimp waffles, and all types of stuff. He also has drinks that comes in cool little cups. In Splatoon 3, Krusty Sean is gone on a biking adventure. So now we have the Marigold staff, and they run a little cafeteria area within the lobby itself. They have things like shrimp and lobster, egg baskets, and seafood wraps, including sushi and even a mountain of seafood. They also sell drinks as well, but they're in little goldfish bags. In Splatoon 2, we see the introduction of Salmon Run with Grisco, and Grisco looks more like kind of an old-fashioned fisherman shed, and it actually looks like it just started production. production, which makes a lot of sense for its first debut. Of course, to the left you have a pickup window where you can pick up your rewards. Of course, Splatoon 3 brings back Grisco, and this time it looks a lot more up to date. It looks like an official business where everything's a lot more cleaned up outside, and now you get to go down a flight of stairs to actually enter the corporation itself. And here you have a practice range, tons of knickknacks and decorations, and even monitors where Mr. Grizz is watching all the civilians and your little buddy through cameras all over Splatsville. And not to mention, you also have the pickup window here, but this time it's ran by staff, as you can hear them talking as you pick up your gear. Now, it's also worth noting that Splatoon 3's Splatsville had a lot of verticality as well. Not a lot to do, which I wish there was more buildings to go into and more things to mess around with, but really you just walked around and looked over giant railings and walked upstairs, and that was about it. It was just ways to get better vantage points of the whole world, and it was cool, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's definitely a lot bigger than the other two games. I also thought I should bring up the DLC location in Splatoon 2, even though we don't have our location in Splatoon 3 yet. You kind of just look down this long ramp that takes you down this alley to the Deep Sea Metro, which is the Octo expansion. All games have these weird giant idol statues on the top of their buildings. Splatoon 1 had a giant wolf/fox, not 100% sure what it was, and this thing wearing a sombrero. Splatoon 2 had what looks like a giant origami crane and a giant golden turtle. Splatoon 3 has a giant piggy bank, it looks like, a giant snake with some type of crown on its head, and a giant black and gold rubber ducky chicken thing with a giant blue egg in front of it. All games have a way of displaying the in-game ads, and for Splatoon 1, they put it on a giant screen right above the main lobby. Splatoon 2's is displayed right above the main lobby as well, with multiple different screens, even one imitating a squid phone, and Splatoon 3's ads all play on that giant switch screen again within the main lobby. And last but not least, the Great Zapfish is placed right in the middle of the city above the lobby area on the giant tower, of course in order to power the entirety of Inkopolis Plaza. Splatoon 2, he's also on the top of the tower right above the lobby area, but this time he's a lot further up there, a lot higher with all the advertisement billboards and screens. Yeah, he's way up there. It's also worth mentioning that he looks a lot shinier in this game. And then in Splatoon 3, we see the Zapfish get even higher on this massive tower right above the lobby, but this time around, he actually flinches every now and then, and also its whiskers are not glowing yellow. Something about him looks slightly different this time around, and maybe just because he's sitting at a different angle and you can actually see part of his stomach now and his entire tail, but yeah, it's really cool how far this thing is up there. Considering the fact that Splatoon came out 7 years ago, it really is so nostalgic coming back to the city of Inkopolis Plaza. It's really so much fun to see how everything has kind of evolved through the second game and even the third game, and just taking a second look at everything once again. This was awesome to revisit, and I loved seeing how everything changed over the years. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this comparing other parts of Splatoon, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and thank you everybody for tuning in today. Like always, I'll see you on the next one. See ya, guys.